Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are and whenever you are. Welcome to the community live stream. My name is Chuck Tomasi, the ServiceNow guy with the Throwback Thursday bow tie. Going back to the archives, some of you may remember this one. It was deprecated at Knowledge 18, but I still keep it around for Throwback Thursday, something like this. This is the web series that helps you be a more effective ServiceNow administrator and developer by giving you the insights, the answers, the journey of exploration behind the questions and issues we find in the ServiceNow community. That's the premise, and let's get started. We do this show every weekday that I'm around, that I'm happy, that I'm healthy, that I'm home in 1 p.m. UTC. So join us on YouTube at that time or subscribe to the channel and get your notifications. Let's see. I always like to do this. This is a bit of a challenge. It just came in. Look at that. You can get your notifications on Twitch and YouTube. Doing that, showing my mobile screen on the side there. You can see that. I guess it was kind of behind my head. But join others. Carol R. is chiming in with the good morning. Good morning to you as well. Good to see you. Give me a shout out. Let me know what the weather's like. Is it snowy just like the screenshot I showed? Or is it wonderful and warm? It is finally warming up in Phoenix. I know I'm not going to get much love out of people when I say it's cold, but it has been an unusually long winter. Usually that cold snap is for a couple of weeks and then it starts to warm up in January. It is taken till late February. Very odd. This seems to be an epidemic thing around the country, at least in the U.S. anyway. Don't know how the weather is in your area. But that's enough about YouTube. You can find more videos other than just the community live stream out there. I also encourage you to go over to Twitch if you subscribe there as well. That's great. Those videos are kept around for a couple of weeks, whereas YouTube is kept around eternally. Good morning, John. Good morning, Jean. Or Jean. Sorry, I don't have a context with which to frame that. I'm going by your last name, that it may be Jean with more of a French accent. So let me know. How do we do? Steve! Took me about a month to figure out how to say his name properly. I can try. I can improve. That's where we go. If you've got more than a shout out or a quick hi, how are you? Chad? There you go. Please put it in the community at community.servicenow.com, where you will get subject matter experts on a wide variety of topics, more than just, hey, what does Chuck know? Which seems to be, what's the word? Percentagely smaller every day. As the world of ServiceNow knowledge gets bigger, what I know doesn't seem to be keeping up proportionally. It is crazy how much stuff there is to learn out there. Somebody asked me a question this morning via LinkedIn, and then they sent me an email. I said, I don't think I can help you on this. You might want to post it in the community. So that is your best bet for getting the widest possible audience. There's a great community, lots of subject matter experts, lots of free advice. So take it for what it's worth. It is an alternative to opening a ticket with Hi. So, yes, the old bow tie is back. This is Throwback Thursday for us. Oswin, I'm doing well. How about you? Thanks for asking. Let's move on. We have the developer community over at developer.servicenow.com, which looks something like this. We've got ServiceNow meetups. We've got free personal developer instance. We've got CreatorCon Challenge. We'll get to that banner in a second about knowledge. We've got free learning plans, all the scripting APIs, lots of great information if you're looking for information about being a developer. The personal developer instances, of course, are free and include Madrid, which officially isn't released for a few more days yet in general availability. But you can get early availability, early access to Madrid, and start exploring and playing with those features, testing them out, seeing what value they will bring to your organization. Morning, Josh. Good morning, Alan. Everybody's checking in. I love it. It's more fun to talk to people than just talking to a camera. I am truly looking forward to knowledge because it means we get to interact face to face. And I had a thought last night of putting together a photo album of all of the pictures, all the pictures I have with people from previous knowledges. So that way, if you do show up at Knowledge 19, I stand a stronger chance of recognizing you. I was going to roll this on like a rolling photo frame or a screensaver on a computer and just roll that so that I get better facial recognition. Don't know if it'll work or not. I need to go scan through about 8 years of Knowledge pictures. Let's see, maybe 9 years of. I don't have that many pictures from Knowledge 10, but I do have several from 11, and then 12, 13, 14, they started increasing more and more. So hopefully we'll get even more at Knowledge 19 when I see you there, which reminds me, we should probably get real quick to the meetup portion of that. If you can't find your meetup under the events section on the developer community, go over to meetup.com/pro/ServiceNow dev program. See if there's a chapter in your area. This map seems to have moved a little bit from yesterday. I just did a screen refresh. 50 chapters around the globe, north, south, east, west, up, down, top, bottom, strange. No, wait, those are, I've just gone into quantum mechanics. So lots of good information over at meetup.com. If you don't have one started, reach out to us. We'll help you get one started. You organize it. We support it. Totally for you, the developers. So I want to remind you of that, which brings us to, I believe, Knowledge is next. Yes. Knowledge, May 5th through 9th, Las Vegas, California. I talk about this every day. I talked about it about 10 minutes ago or less, 5. We've only been doing the show for 6, so it couldn't have been 10 minutes ago, or I would have been talking to it with no camera. So I encourage you to sign up, register, go over to knowledge.servicenow.com, find out what's there. I am feverishly working on new labs, new constructs. In fact, I will show you some of the work I'm doing today on an application that will become the revamped lab. If you were there last year, even if you weren't there, we did an IoT lab based on the Amazon Dash buttons and the little IoT busy box that we created. This is hardware engineered and designed at ServiceNow, and I've been working on the firmware. I finally have a workable situation to simplify last year's. I'll tell you what the problem was last year in just a little bit if we have time on this show. Do want to get into the community, and I do want to answer some of your questions. So Knowledge is where you will be able to get your hands on and do those kinds of labs in CreatorCon, a little more technical, which I think a lot of the audience viewing this is. Don't forget, if you do sign up, check that checkbox for CreatorCon. I heard there's something more than just a little token, more than just a CC on your badge like there was last year to say, I am able to get into the CreatorCon sessions. We have something for you. So we're talking about that. Haven't nailed it down. We're throwing things in the budget. We'll see what's approved. It is 65 days and counting. Let me see if I can, there we go. So if you want the scare factor, aside from, it's not on the screen. Let me bring that back to my big head. 65 days and counting till May 5th. Yeah, that's the scary part. Put that away. I need a better picture than the scary big head. Maybe I got to find something. It's hard to find pictures that work in that vertical format that truly represent knowledge. We'll find it. Maybe we'll throw the Madrid logo up there with the dude dancing through that infinity symbol. Something. I'll figure it out. Not right now, though. Let's see. Our next webinar. Yes, get the right keyboard here, Charles. Put my head away and get the webinar picture up there. Next Tech Now is March 19th, where Stacey Bailey will be walking us through the mobile apps, mobile studio, how to create those things. Very, very useful information. Encourage you to see that. We're also working on some other video content around Mobile Studio. That is a big, big discussion and a priority right now for multiple people. Resources seem to be the issue with Madrid being launched and Knowledge coming up and all that good stuff. Good morning, Paulo. Good to see you. Mahendra, also checking in. Good day, good day. Didn't you have a button on your shirt K18 showed images? Yes, I did. Let me get back to, you can see the information on the screen real quick. GF, less than, greater than. Those are the hotkeys that I hit. G, forget. F for put away the subtitles, and less than to make sure my head is down here. No, that's greater than. This is less than, greater than, question mark. Hotkeys, they're fun. And I have to have them written on the screen in front of me to tell what's next. Any scripts we write today, GitHub repo that you see on the bottom of the screen, will have them there in a dated folder so you can copy, paste them, take them, break them, make them your own, and learn something at the same time. I know the one I wrote yesterday was very prescriptive to the app that I was writing, but it gives you an idea of how you can put things in a script include and then unit test them later. So on with the content. I did mention, Steve, you mentioned a little button. I don't have it. It's, no, I don't have it within arm's reach. I thought I did. It's a Beam button from Beam Authentic. I'm going to just, what the heck? This is not ServiceNow related, except that I had this badge. They are about $99 US. It is a social networking, so it's not just a photo frame on a button. It's about, I don't know, 4 centimeters across. And you can upload. It does communicate with Bluetooth. I did find out that they don't work if you don't have any connectivity. You have to have connectivity to their server, which I thought was kind of crazy. If all I wanted to do was Bluetooth some pictures to my button badge, you kind of get the idea how big they are from some of these pictures. Beam Authentic, BeamAuthentic.com is where you get them. They are a bit pricey, but they are a whole lot of fun. And there is a social aspect to them. So when you beam something to your button, you also have the ability to share it with whoever is following you or whoever you want to look at on this stream. So a lot of fun. I get a lot of conversation about those. It's like, wow, I think I was at DragonCon and one of the presenters was, I'm just mesmerized by that guy with the pictures on his button in the front row. So I have been known to distract a speaker or two with that button. Because it's a cool gadget. That's why. I haven't thought of a way to integrate that with ServiceNow yet, though. If it starts flashing red, you got a server that's down, that kind of thing would be fun. I'll have to see if they have an open API. It doesn't look like it based on the fact that it is sort of a closed ecosystem, but you never know. Never know. I just haven't had a chance to check into that. Kevin says, Madrid is awesome. I am enjoying Madrid as well. In fact, I just moved that entire IoT lab project over to Madrid. No, I'm sorry. I moved the Jeopardy game over to Madrid because I needed to do the Madrid mobile application development. I think I demonstrated that to you yesterday. And I haven't had a chance to chase down that bug. I was spending all my time on the IoT lab yesterday. Let's get into the community. Quick refresh of the screen. I'm going to start with some fresh new questions. Go to unreplied, see what's come in, and this is the nervous part where I go, hope there's something for me to use. Scripting help, 21 minutes ago, and nobody's responded. This could be interesting. Take a look. All right, I have the background script for discovery schedule, goes into discovery schedule, does a query, it's getting all the records for discovery, sets the discovery schedule name, string discovery schedule. Okay, so str discovery schedule. For a moment, I thought this variable was named very, very closely, if not the same as the other one. Creates an array inside, then does an instantiation of arrayutil. Interesting. Does another query, a query on discovery status, where the name is the, what is descheduler.name? I don't think you need descheduler. I think you just need name. Oh, wait. Descheduler must be part of discovery status. Let's take a look. I don't know if I have an instance that's got discovery on it right now. I'll log into my personal developer. Sometimes I enable it here. I don't have it there. Have I done discovery over here? This one has been up for a really long time. I don't have discovery anywhere. Rats. Okay, so we're going to have to take his trust on this. What is the issue? Which gives the output, well, I want the difference between duration in the same row, like 10 minutes, 9 minutes, 1 minute in the same row. So instead of each of these, oh, Okay, so if you want it in the same row, don't print out every line of your array here. Where's the end of this loop? The end of the first loop is there. Save your printing till the end. But he's redeclaring ARR, then doing a join. That's a tough way to do a join. And what's this plus at the end? I don't understand what the plus is. So pushing the array of relationships. So if you want them all on one line instead of just, I'm not understanding what he wants. I want the difference between two durations in the same row, like 10 minutes, 9 minutes equals 1 minute in the same row. Okay, so he needs a difference in here. I'm not seeing any calculation. I'm not seeing any calculation between the two durations. And if I remember right, let's jump over to the API documentation. Glide duration, I thought had a subtract method. Pretty sure it does. Or glide date time does. And I am going to I'll just use the search up here. Glide duration. And in the API, we have our constructor. Down in glide duration, I'm just going to scan down here. Add. So there's no difference. Subtract. If you took one from the other, it returns nothing. Subtract a specified duration from the current duration. Oh, okay. So you could use subtract to do this. Here's duration 1, here's duration 2. You could. If this thing returns a void, then what the heck is this? I think this documentation might be a little off if I'm reading this right. Method does not return a value, yet here they are using subtract and getting a duration answer. Seems a little hokey to me. I don't know. I'm going to bookmark that. Send that back to them. Say, you could use the glide duration subtract method to do this. Then print out the difference, or print out the answer using the same method. Kudos on him for using the array so creatively. I would do a couple of things a little differently if I were doing that. There's a lot of string manipulation that could be better done with a get value. You guys know me and get value. This kind of thing. Yeah, probably not the best way to do that. But let's mosey on. One for the record. Play that beautiful coin music. Workflow, create task activity, get task number. Ooh. Has this been answered? No. Hi, everyone. I could use some help on this issue. Here is what I'm trying to do. Goal. I love this format. Thank you. Thank you. Let us know what you're trying to do and what you've tried to do. Create a change record after a catalog is completed and store the change number in the catalog task. Do not continue the workflow until the catalog task and change are closed. Current solution. Within the workflow, after the catalog task activity, I added a create task activity that creates the change and clicked wait for completion. This will allow the workflow to proceed when the change closes. That is correct. Issue with the above solution. I need to store the change number, not the sysid, in the catalog task description with the create task activity, but it doesn't seem to be available because I can't determine when the change is committed to the database. Another idea I thought about using was the wait for condition activity, but that only applies when the record, in this case, with the requested item, is updated and it didn't work. Can you share the details That should be at 150. Let's bump that up. Can you share the details of the create task activity? You may have to use a script to create this. Doing so, you can get I know you can get the sysid with get unique value, but I don't know if the number's been allocated or not. Let's give this a try. I think he's right that you don't know until it's done. Let's go to the scripts background. I have a quick test. Let's go to, not script debugger. In fact, that shortcut doesn't work in Madrid right now. It's broken. It's going to be fixed. Let's write a test script over here. New script var incgr equals new, you got it, glide record on incident. And my fingers want to type include for whatever reason. Darn motor skills. Fingers have a mind of their own at 6 a.m. incgr.newRecord means we're going to create a new record, set some default values, that kind of thing. And do we have, I know we have the sysid equals incgr.getUniqueValue. And right after that, do we have the number allocated? Number equals incgr.getDisplayValue. It might even be gs.info. Let's do this instead. Copy that. Paste it there and say dv for display value. And number, we'll just go out and get value on number. I also have a question in my head that I need answering right now. Let's hope I don't forget it. Okay, try that. Blast that out. And yes, you do have numbers. They're allocated when the record is instantiated. So you could do that. The other question I have is, rats, I just forgot it. It was something about the timing of this. Rats. No, I don't remember. It was one of those fleeting thoughts like, oh. I should have repeated it a few times. I might remember it in a little bit. So let's go back to the question. Doing so, you can get the number or display value right after the record. Oh, because the create task may not have done it yet. Does create task do those steps for you? Now, that's an interesting question. I think we're going to need to make a simple workflow. Hey, into the workbench. Let's go to workflow editor. We were here a couple of days ago. Add a new workflow. We'll call this make new task. We'll run this on the incident table, for which I really have no use. I know they were talking about changes in catalog tasks and whatnot. We don't need any conditions. We do need to run the workflow always. Don't forget to set that. That has caught me so many times. That's why I always scan down this list and look. I haven't used the workflow in a while. Let's go to core, create task, throw that out there. And what we can do for this task is give it a task name. Task type will be, we can do an incident task. That would be fun. I haven't created one of those in a while. Don't need to worry about priority, but we do want to short description from workflow, put that on there. And I thought there was an advanced checkbox I could check up here. Where is it? Script, advanced. Now, gslog. I'm going to do a gsinfo because gslog is scoped only, and I know I'm in global, or it's in global only. I know I'm in global right now. let's see, number equals, let's test my theory. Current? You populate. Current is something, task is the task we're creating. Current would be the incident. So we want task dot get display value. Hey, what do you think is going to happen? Does it know the display value before it creates that? Let's go ahead and verify, validate. Validate is good. Do you have to publish to do the run? I thought you could do this little run activity before you publish. Heck with it anyway. Why can't I run? Thought I could. Well, that's no fun. This should run. Why isn't run available to me? Check it out. Okay, so let's reopen it. There it is. Nope. What disables that? Workflow properties. I wonder if it's because... Here, you know what? It's checked out, right? Why can't I edit the properties then? Workflow properties. What? You can't do global? I thought you could do a global and run it anywhere. So much for that test. Fine. Let's see if I can get this thing to trigger. It's going to run always, right? So back to my instance screen. Oh, you know what else I need? I'm going to need a UI action to see that thing. Make sure it runs. So let's do show workflow. Here's a little trick I've done years ago. Show workflow. That wasn't specific enough. Show workflow. I want that show workflow UI action on here. So my favorite is change request. Open that record and you will see all you have to do to put that show workflow on any other record is change the table. And if you're dealing with a scoped application, come down here and put global right there in the condition. Even though I am in global, I'm going to do this every time. Insert. And now if I go to an incident, I only have one active incident that belongs to me. I don't want the self-service view. I want the default view. Default. So many things come to mind. And down here, I probably do not have a workflow. So let's do a quick update. Can we get this thing to trigger? Here's some work notes. I'm going to update it this way. That may not do it because it's not actually updating the incident. Oh, maybe it is. Change the state to in progress. That'll help some fun. Will it trigger the workflow? Will it trigger the workflow? Show workflow. And it ran, which is good. It's what we wanted. Let's also make a mess of my personal developer instance and add the related list. So form menu, configure related lists, put on the incident tasks for no other reason than where is my incident tasks? Would have thought it would have been in there. Incident task, there it is. And we have by incident and we have by parent. I don't know which one, so let's take both. Related lists are cheap. Personal developer instances are cheaper. And there is my incident task, short description from workflow. Now let's go check the log. I have logs favorited. Look at that. It's the second thing I favorite because I do this so much. And I get number equals nothing. Workflow started making new task for incident 11. So it knows the incident number, but it doesn't know the task number yet. This one may not be doable. just tried the following with the script. Don't think this is possible within the create task activity. Just did a test and tried the following with no result. Darn, sometimes you don't get the answer you want, right? It's always more fun when you do. gs.info task.getDisplayValue. Here we'll put a new task number equals plus command minus, click OK, command plus, and so the task number isn't known until after the task create task runs. Arrgh. See what other people have to say. Hey, I didn't say it was a right answer. I said it was an answer. I get to ring the bell. Let's put away the workflow editor. You know I'm going to forget this is there. I'm just going to keep creating incident tasks. But I'm pretty close to wiping that personal developer instance. It's getting really messed up. It is their morning trigger. Steve says, hashtag get value. Absolutely. On with the next one. Let's do a refresh. Make a business rule that takes care, OTR, that when the new task is created related to an incident, that takes care of that. The business rule would still need to feed back into the workflow. What is the number of that task? So don't know if you can directly interact with the workflow scratchpad. You could put a script activity right after that, maybe. Perhaps a script activity. How would you know what task that was? Imagine if you had a workflow that created several tasks, though. Just thinking this through. If you created task 1, task 2, task 3, and maybe they want to wait for task 3 to be created, how would you get the sysID of that last task? Or not the, well, either the sysID or the... You said I don't want to get the sysID. Could you get the sysID? This one may be consuming more time than we want, but I'm interested in knowing what you can get your hands on. Let's go back to the workflow editor. It's probably not in there. Workflow editor. Come on. Come on. There it is. You got to be able to type to be able to work. Back into my make new task. Do we have access to anything else? Is this currently checked out? It's checked out. Open that up. And although we can't get display value, do we have the get unique value? Why am I not able to edit this? It's checked out by me. I am me. Yes. I'm in global. I was in global when I built this. The workflow editor's being a little funky on me. Can I delete that? No, it's... What? Crazy. I can't check it in and I can't publish it. Who am I? What's going on here? Incident updated by published equals true. Applications global. All right. Go back here. Do a refresh on the screen. I'm in global. Go into the workflow editor. It's one of those crazy mornings, I guess. Open the workflow. I'm going to delete this thing if I have to. Currently checked out by me. Yes, I know what that is. And that means what? It means I'm going to log out and log back in. Or I can unlock it somehow. Log out, log in. Did it forget who I am? We have ServiceNow amnesia. Go back to the Welcome tab and look in Checked Out. That's a good idea. Workflow Editor. Workflow Editor. Open my new task. Go back to the Welcome tab. Checked Out. Make new task. Yes. I'm going to make a new workflow if this doesn't. Open that up. And checked out by me. That was weird. Okay. Now I can edit it. All I wanted to do is add one more line of script. Scroll, 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 scroll. gs.info sysid equals task.getUniqueValue. If we have the unique value, we can get the number. Maybe. We can get the number later. We could put that into the scratch pad. Let's find out what we've got. Still can't run it. Let's publish. And go back to an incident. Probably not that same one. Not that one. Let's get a different one. CPU load over 10 minutes high. It's all closed. Thank you. Incident. Let's just get an open incident. Open incident. Rain is leaking on the DNS server. Sounds like a good name for a song. And I will update the state again. Or it's raining on the DNS server. Let's reduce the priority and the impact from 1 to nothing. 3. Work notes. Yes, I have some. Update, save, done. All right, that should have triggered a workflow. Yes, yes, we can tell when we have show workflow down here, we have an incident task created. To the logs, Batman. No sysid, no number. Still not getting there. Darn. Okay, so if we took Steve's approach, the business rule would run after the task is created. We could get the information from the record. How do we pass that back to the workflow? Oh, you could just update it because they really wanted the create a change record after catalog task and store the change number in the catalog task. You'd need to know both. So is the catalog task have any relationship? If it does, you could do your dot walking that way. I see where you're going. Thanks for the information, suggestions on how I could do what I want. Perhaps a business rule on SC task on update. I'm suggesting how to do this. Yes. You are on the right track. You and I and Steve are on the same wavelength. This is true community fashion in action. Everybody's thinking together. A BR on the SC task record could retrieve the sysid number, aka display value, etc. And you could then store that in the change record, provided you have a link of some type, a reference field that links the task to the change. Then update the change. Interesting little bit of thing that I just thought about is the get ref record method. I don't use this too much, but I just had a recent need to use it. Get ref record. I want to show you an example of how I would do this if I didn't know about get ref record and how I would use it now that I do. So let's take classic example of getting a related record if you don't know how to use get ref record. Okay, a little bit of scripty lesson here, a method that I need to keep an eye out for more opportunities to use it. Let's go get an incident, because incident is our favorite table. I should just have a keyboard macro for this. Incident and inc gr.get number Oh, let's just go pick one. What was I just looking at? Log, incident, rain is leaking on the DNS server. We'll go get number 16. Okay. Once I've got that, retrieve the caller record info. Normally, I would do something like this. var user gr equals new glide record, sysuser, and then do user gr.get inc gr. I had to think about what I needed and what I had. Get value, caller ID. Use the sys of the that's stored in the caller ID field and get that sys. Now you have that. Okay. Shorthand notation. Now you've got everything you need in the user GR. You can get their sys of the department. You can get their email address, the phone number, all that good stuff for the same above. You could do, in fact, just to make this actually runnable, I will, some of you may be going, yeah, Chuck, I thought everybody knew about this, but this isn't something that everybody knows about. Shorthand notation would be user GR, do something like, same kind of thing. Still need to do that. User GR equals incgr.callerID.get ref record. That gets the whole thing. You're like, why would you want to do one over the other? Well, because you can. Let's take a look at the API for that. Get ref record returns a glide record object for a given reference element. Think about this, where you're dot walking down 3 or 4 fields. Maybe it's not the caller, but it's several fields down. So here's pretty much the same example where I do, they're making sure that caller ID is not empty, get all the incidents for that, and going through a loop. Oh, they didn't even declare this. You don't have to do that part. Okay, so I get to save one statement there. grinc.caller ID, get ref record, and there's also another one that says is valid record, which is a good check to make. Anytime you retrieve a record, make sure that it's a valid record. So I like this one. It's shorter. Let's save that into a new folder for today. I'm watching the sausage being made here. Happy last day of February. I saw something on Facebook. It said, hey, here's a new challenge. Give up drinking or smoking or eating or whatever on February 29th, 30th, and 31st this year. The 3-day challenge. One of my friends said, I'm in. I said, I can never make it. I always drink too much on the 28th and wake up on the 1st. Maybe next year I'll have a chance. Get ref record example.js. I wrote that other little script. What did we call that? We called that get display value on a new save that. Get info on new record.js. So everybody else is invited to the 3-day challenge this year. All right. See if there's anything new on here. Did we get an update? As we type. Nope. Oh, yes. Wait. This might be the replies we had before. Oh, okay. So still there. It's 1:15, and I did have something that I wanted to show you that is another use case for the name value pair field. I mentioned this on Tuesday's Tech Now. It came out in Jakarta. Name value pair fields are very helpful, and I am using them as part of an integration. Let me back up. The IoT lab for Knowledge 19 and 18 as well. Let me get this a little bigger so you can see. Use these little busy boxes. That screen is not flashing in real life. It's just the camera refresh. So it's got an OLED display. It's got a couple of buttons for input. There is an RGB LED and a humidity temperature sensor in here. We also have a buzzer somewhere back here, just above the LED, and the CPU is a little tiny processor, Arduino based. Now, in Knowledge 18, we used the Amazon Dash button to trigger an action, got picked up by AWS. AWS sent a REST API into ServiceNow. ServiceNow took that record and said, what do you want me to do with it? It's an event of some type. Created a record, and then a business rule said, based on this lookup table, I'm going to check some conditions. And says, oh, you want me to send a request to that busy box. Well, I was sending a REST API through a mid server, and the mid server had direct contact. The idea is these types of devices are throughout your organization, whether it is some Hue LEDs you turn on or something. I needed to get into your organization. It made the setup of that lab very complex because we had to have VPNs and VPCs and mid servers, and at a conference that was, I think I was the most troublesome lab of all of them. So I said, this year, let's turn it around. Rather than having a mid server in the cloud that acts as an agent between the IoT device in your organization and the instance, let's just turn that functionality in here. So this does an outbound poll to the instance every few seconds. Says, do you have any work? Do you have any work? Do you have any work? So I created an analogy of the ECC queue. The ECC queue is what a mid server uses. Let me get back down in the corner so I'm not all over the screen. The ECC queue, this is not the ECC queue. The real ECC queue is over here. It is a series of requests for a given mid server to say, go run this discovery, go run this service watch, go do this integration. And the instance sits inside your organization, communicates out on port 443 every few seconds. Actually, it's now using the message bus, so it's really, really quick these days. But imagine it's polling every few seconds. Do you have any work? 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 And then something comes into the queue and goes, oh, hey, I've got work. I'll go do that. That's the same concept I gave this. So I gave it that polling technique, and I put these requests in a queue. How do they get there? Well, I'm going to back up a little bit and show you my specification. The fun thing about something like this is you get to make up everything from the ground up. It is a completely blank slate. And what I started off with was a JSON payload. I said, if the device gets this is all written in C++ for Arduino, which makes it exceptionally painful. I know there are some programmers who like to be close to the metal, as they call it. This is a little too close for me. I truly appreciate ServiceNow in situations like this because, A, my C++ is really rusty, so I keep getting caught up between character arrays, pointers, and string types. Funny thing was, I used to teach a C class, so I should be better at it than I am. And I came up with this payload construct. Let me make that just a wee bit bigger. Of here is the device I want to talk to. This one's called Fred. Here is the outbound record that it started from. And here is the payload. And I had an array of objects in here. Again, I get to make this all up. It's kind of fun. I said, turn the LED on or off, make it this color for this number of milliseconds, and repeat it this many times. So I could go flash, flash, flash. Well, that was nice and simple until I said, wait a minute. That means if you wanted to display one line of text, it would show up 5 seconds, and then another line of text, it would show up 5 seconds later. To do 2 lines of text on this display? No, I want to be able to send multiple things. So I came up with this array of command objects. And turn the OLED on, clear line 1, set line 0, that kind of thing. And the problem was this complex payload was too much for this device to take on. I was using a library called Arduino JSON to parse this object, then parse the array, then parse the objects within the array, and it just went not enough memory. When I had enough memory to parse, it would crash the CPU. When I didn't have enough memory, it couldn't parse the JSON payload. So I went back to the drawing board just before lunchtime yesterday and said, we need a plan B, which is what you see down here, a much simpler protocol that is a flat JSON payload. So interestingly enough, Jason McKee, who I think really ought to have on his Knowledge 19 badge, JSON McKee, take the A out of his name and just play with it, because he's a very technical person, does a lot of Arduino stuff. He's working on a Node-RED program right now on his Raspberry Pi. He's trying to get me into that. We simplify this. We still have the source and device because I need those as pointers back to the input queue. But then we get into a little more complex payload. This is the LED command, and I put a few notes in here. This is the fun part where you get to make up your own protocol, and if it's wrong, you get to change it. Much easier to parse, much less memory, much less processing time on that poor little Arduino processor that's inside of there. Turn the buzzer on for 3 seconds and do this 3 times. Line of text. If the text is empty, clear the line. I think I still have a bug with that. And then sensors isn't implemented yet, but if I want the sensors, I can say sensors on. How do you get that easily to the device? Well, that actually simplified a lot of code, because to construct this meant I went through a related list of records. And now to do this, I simply need to take a JSON payload, and I went, oh, I get to use a name value pair. That was exciting for me anyway. So in the queue, let me show you the outbound queue that I just sent. I have input and output. Output is like your outbox in your office where you put something in there and somebody comes by every once in a while and takes it. Same concept as the ECC queue. I wanted to mimic that as closely as possible so that here is an output request for Fred. Fred sends a scripted REST API, or sends an HTTP request and says, do you have any work for a device called Fred? And if there's anything that is currently ready, it will pick that up in chronological order. And of course, I used my favorite JSON_view attribute on the dictionary. I think I showed this to you before, but if you look at, make that a little bit, if I make it bigger here, it's going to throw off my other thing. But if I look at show payload, you can see this dictionary attribute on that field gives me this cool little widget. That was a London thing, if I remember right, and formats it nicely. But in this field, it is a simple JSON payload. There's my command, which turns the LED kind of a bluish color for 1 second, and I can always rerun it. Watch this. I say, ready? It's probably not going to look too blue on the camera, but you get the idea. So I hit save. When that bottom status light says I'm checking the queue, which it does right now, can't read it, but it says it. It changed the state to processing, and I completely missed it. I was looking at the record. Let's do that again, just for fun. Ready? Save. Should have blinked the LED. There it goes. It actually was so bright you couldn't see it on the camera. It overwhelmed the camera. Let's do something a little more sadistic and beep once. So if I go down here into my favorites, I have my devices. There is Fred, and I have what's going to happen is when you press the button once, twice, or hold it long, it will do one of these 3 actions. Haven't finished the dash button side of this application yet, but you'll see where the name value pair field comes in just a bit. The bluish LED record looks like this, and it says, here's the payload. Well, I didn't want to write the JSON hard-coded. The nice thing about name value pairs is it's just JSON under the hood. So I can put in these values. Yes, it's subject to a little quirkiness. A color picker would have been nice, a time field, but you know what? I'm dealing with a technical audience. They can type a few characters as tests. If I change this to beep the buzzer for 1 second, let's do 100 milliseconds 3 times. We can do buzzer, and then the format, according to my payload document, which was on the next tab, payload document, this would be beep it 3 times for 3 seconds. That would be a little long. I keep thinking it's in another application because I have it, Evernote, as a client app on my other computer. So apologize for the tab flipping on that. 100 milliseconds, 3 times. If I update that, now test the single click, puts it into the queue. I'm going to hold this up so that maybe the microphone gets it. And check the queue record. Wasn't that fun? So I test it by putting in the queue. Now what's more is this has a way of saying it worked or it did not work. I had problems. There's several ways this thing can fail, just like mid servers. It can first of all, the first error is it gets a 404 when it checks the queue and there's no work to be done. I don't care. It really doesn't matter. I'm not reporting that back saying, I have no work, I have no work, I have no work. But when it sends in this request and says, is there work for Fred? And it picks up a payload like that, it may have problems parsing the payload. That would come back as something like, oh, I don't have it in here. I thought I had an error record. I must have cleaned it out just before the show. But I would get an input record, meaning the device has put something into this queue that has a status of error, parsing failed. Maybe there's bad format in there. Maybe it's just too long. I could do that. I have a really long JSON payload that it goes, and that freaks it out because it's too big to fit in the memory. I need these small, discrete little packets. It could also, let's see, there's parsing error, and then there's, I can't remember what the other one is, but the state on this would be error. And the reason I use the source in the payload, again, I'm not going to flip applications on you. I did that accidentally twice already. The reason the source is in here is so that it can tie it back to the output record. So the source on this, I can easily glance and go, what is this input record associated with? This is, I don't want it a reference field because the source on this actually came from the app. The source could be error, in which case I'll go, ooh, if it picked it up and it couldn't parse out the source, if it has a parsing error, it doesn't know what record it tied it back to. So got to do a little sleuthing there to figure out what happened, Fred, if it parsed it wrong. And if it doesn't know the source, it can't send that back as a reference. As far as the scriptable APIs, I should also show you there's a configuration. There is a web server running on here because how do you get this up and running when we take it from my home network over to Knowledge? It has a little web server that just serves up a page and it says, what's your device name? That has to equal what's in the device's page, Fred. So it knows what payloads to reach out and pick up, put it on the network, typical standard stuff here for SID and password. Then there's a fingerprint because the HTTP request library has to use some sort of security to do HTTPS. And this was a bit trickier because it didn't exist. It wasn't an issue last year, and it drove me absolutely nuts. It went from optional to required, so I had to do a little. It's one line of extra Arduino code, but where do you get the fingerprint? You get that from a secure website. You click on the little lock, and there is certificate. Under details, we need the SHA-1 key. Only I need to add a little code because somebody's going to copy and paste this into this little web page and forget the colons, and I got to go through and substitute the colons. So that's very easy to do. I'll take care of that. Tell it what instance you want to go to, assuming it's something.servicenow.com. I'm debating whether to put the full instance name in there, demo1.servicenow.com, because lab instances are something.lab.servicenow.com. So may have to just do something.lab. Not sure. Haven't figured that one out. And then what is the polling interval? This one was interesting because my underlying lesson to you is assume everything on the web is in text, and I needed a number. I was trying to do this as a number, and it wasn't parsing, and I was coming up with some crazy results like 25 million. Like, no, I don't want to wait 25 million between polling. That's longer than I'm alive. So that is everything that's packed into here. It's got a web server, so I can listen to incoming requests and do the configuration. If I want to change the polling from 5 seconds down to 3 seconds, I do that. It's going to reboot the device because it needs to save those to EEPROM and then read them in from EEPROM. And come on. It's me. There we go. It says, hold on. I've got to reboot. The beep means it's rebooting. The flashing LED means it's rebooting. It's going through some various tests, putting it on the network. Let's hold that right side up. And now I've got the new device polling every 3 seconds. If you watch that bottom line, it goes 1 1000, 2 1000, 3 1000, check. So a little bit quicker. Not something you would typically do in your own organization. So that brings us to the top of the hour. Just something I'm working on. It's still a little rough. Needs some tweaking around the edges as far as I definitely need to run the lab guide. I am going to talk to, what happened to this screen? I said, okay. Oh, it's got something selected. It doesn't. I can't put okay away. That means we're done here today, people. Thank you very much for joining me today. It has been wonderful. Don't forget, if you found something useful, entertaining, or enlightening, check that like button on the video on YouTube. Click the helpful link on the community, and it'll let other people know there's something useful in here. Until tomorrow, which is Friday, March 1st, and it'll be 64 days until knowledge. I look forward to seeing you then. Learn something, share something, be helpful. Take care. Bye.